We were asked to talk about something that geeks would love, and geeks love to hate patents. And love them or hate them, they're probably not going to go away soon. So I thought, talk about them a bit. And I'm not going to talk about whether they're good or bad because I don't want to get lynched. Yeah, seeing that this is open hack NYC and all. So, being of a technical nature, legal nature, let's get the disclaimers out of the way. I am not a lawyer. First word. Okay. And so you can expect, gross misconceptions, broad oversimplifications, and since I have only 15 seconds, yeah. Okay, so we'll start with what everyone knows. A patent is a temporary monopoly granted by the government on an invention. And the theory is you get to protect your research and development investment and the little guy versus the big guy. But there's so much hate against patents, mostly software patents. You can see Stallman and Slashdot and Reddit. Everyone just loves to hate them. And why is that? I think most importantly, it's because it's against the spirit of open source and open hack NYC. This is what we're here to do. So, but then there's misunderstandings. Well, every time you go to Reddit and there's a post about a patent, you eventually have a guy claiming to patent taking a crap. I mean, it's there. It's like it's funny the first 1,000 times, but then maybe not. But then patents have requirements, and one of the requirements is the first one is novel. There you go. Of course, it has to be new to be a novel. And if it's not novel, if somebody else has done it, it's prior art. And that's what prior art looks like. A very smart guy, by the way. Secondly, they have to be useful, and I'm sure you've seen this. This is a very useful patent. Method for exercising a cat. I could see how it could be useful. You don't have to get off your ass to play with a cat. Yeah, but they have to be useful. Trust me. They get through. Some of them got through. And thirdly, it has to be non-obvious. You can't just look at it and say, well, duh. But non-obvious to whom? To Fosita. Fosita is actually a person having ordinary skills in the art, right? So it should be non-obvious, and yet it should be able to recreate that from the patent. And according to Google Images, Fosita looks like Alfred E. Newman. With no laughs. My God, I must be old. Okay, but Fosita is an art genius, and if a Fosita can do it, so could you. So how do you understand a patent? Whatever for whatever reason, know thy enemy. Okay, this is a 1-second guide. Read the friggin' claims. Okay, the claims are the only part of the patent that are actually enforceable and define the scope, and that's where most of the problems lie. But if anytime you see someone talking about something about a patent, just say RTFC, right? So here's a 1-minute guide, and this is the first step. Ignore the title. It's just a handle to the patent, right? And if you had to name a function, would it be option A or option B? Exactly. Yeah, this is what people post to the forums, and this is what people rant and rave about, and like, oh my God, I've been patented XML, oh my God. But no, so you have to read the claims. There's 2 types of claims. There's independent claims, they describe the core of the invention in broad terms, to get the maximum coverage. And it defines the scope of the patent, basically. On top of independent claims, you have dependent claims, which refine, clarify, add detail, and they usually refer to other claims. So if you see this, it's a very hierarchical structure, right? Claims building on top of claims, and that leads to this pretty silly analogy with procedural programming. Why do I say it's like procedural programming? Well, look at this. Independent claim, that's right, they're a module. The broad terms are function calls, right? The dependent claims are the function implementations, and Fosita is the OS or interpreter. And if the person of ordinary skill cannot do it, it's invalid. But then you say, how do I read the legalese? It hurts. Well, take a tip from Python. Just use indentation. Oh, you can see the indentation here. Ouch. It helps to break it up into pieces and maybe even basic number the clauses. And once you have done that, it becomes slightly easier. You have this patent is shorthand. A first X communicating a first Y to a second Y. Well, what's that mean? X1 sends a message, Y1 to X2. That's how you should read it. Plurality is just many, and best mode is the code with the fewest WTFs. It's supposed to be the best way of implementing that. What about the other 9,000 pages you ask? Well, diagrams are useful, but you can only decode them with the help of the specification, which is this huge wall of text that you really don't have to read unless you have to, or maybe you're into that sort of thing. But then, what are the problems with software patents? Well, like I said, claims are broad, and broadness is abstraction, and software is the science of abstraction. So, you get abstractions on top of abstractions, you get too much broadness, and you get obviousness. People say, well, what's being claimed anyway? It's obvious. Well, this is my theory. What if everyone on Slashdot, Reddit, everything, what do you think of themselves as? Well, everyone's a rock star programmer, you know that. And everyone else around them is a code monkey. So a person of ordinary skill is a code monkey. Well, I just want you to get an idea of what things are in the patent land. So what you should not do is panic. Don't try to patent breathing. Look at the date, RTFC, and think of the person you're forwarding your skill. Thanks.